what's going on YouTube? It's your girl Kristen, aka Black Cherry, doing another movie review. It has come to my attention that it is almost the end of the year of 2021, and I have yet to make another movie review. And plus, I, like a rookie, made the mistake of watching all 5 seasons of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, including the incompleted season of 5 of Stone Ocean. And quite frankly, I'm upset about it. But since I'm bored, I am going to go ahead and do another review on a rom-com that I found fairly interesting and maybe in realistic terms might be a little frightening, to me at least. Yeah, so here we're gonna review LoveHard. Okay, so if you haven't seen LoveHard, it is a Christmas rom-com movie that came out this year. Kind of cute, sort of. Basically, it's about this story of a young author, blogger person named Natalie who makes a living off of blogging and writing about her absolutely horrid dating experiences. She lives in LA, so that's kind of a given, but she makes a living off of that until she doesn't learn her lesson from looking up all these people on dating apps and thinks that she found the right person uh, online on this dating app and decides to visit this person for Christmas. And newsflash, and not surprising at all, it turns out that this person is not who they say they were, and she has been catfished, and all these shenanigans happen. You know, the typical rom com stuff, and they finally realize that it's actually each other that they want instead of, I guess, who they thought they were online or on these dating apps. Uh, it stars the comedian Jimmy Yang, and I like him very much. And I think he honestly makes this rom com slightly a bit bearable. So kudos to you. And yeah, that's pretty much the basis of the film. Now, I will get into the review in just a sec, but I just like to comment on the fact that this is about finding love on dating apps. I'm not saying that it's not possible. There are plenty of people out there that find the one on on certain apps, but quite frankly, from most of the stories that I hear from related friends, this doesn't usually happen. But it's Christmas and it's a rom com, so who cares? So, Love Hard starts with a bit of a monologue from our main protagonist, Natalie Bauer. Her dating history is quite interesting, quite depressing, if I might say. She gets most of her dates from this app called Flirt Alert, in which, kind of like the actual dating apps today, you swipe on a person that you like and end up match with and start a conversation and see where it goes from there. For Natalie, most of those conversations and or interactions end in immediate disaster. Uh, I can only think that essentially there must be something chronically wrong with who she's picking, how she's picking, or as she would put it, is the unluckiest woman in the world. Needless to say, um, she has had bad dating history, and instead of crumbling on herself into self deprecation and, uh, quite frankly, depression, which I mean, I would understand if all my dates end in either someone being either married and or false. She's decided to turn this experiences into a blog, a writing catalog that she does for her work. And it seems to be a hit with a lot of people because, you know, misery loves company and all that. Um, Regardless, she expresses how she cannot possibly keep doing this much longer lest she lose her sanity. And I mean, right off the back, her friend gives her a bit of truth.
What's the one common denominator in all of these dates? It's you.
Not many people can handle the truth. Anyway, so she has to get another story out. Her boss, Mr. Lee, or I forgot his entire name, um, wants another story by the end of Christmas, and quite frankly, she just maybe rather not until. And she goes on Flirt Alert again because why not go on the same app where you've had several other dates that end in absolute terror and horror, like horribleness. That's not even like a correct sentence, but you get what I mean. She ends up going back on Flirt Alert, and ironically, she finds someone that she actually likes. Now, here's the thing with Miss Natalie. She's quirky, you know. She's not like, I guess, other LA girls, or maybe she is. She's allergic to kiwis. She likes to read. And she thinks Die Hard is a Christmas film. I'm inclined to agree. And she strikes up with this guy on Flirt Alert named Josh, and he sounds pretty cool. They end up having lots and lots of conversations throughout the night, and then she thinks she might have found the perfect guy for her. Keep in mind, she has not met this dude just yet. They just had really long conversations, had calls with each other. She doesn't know who this guy is just yet, but she thinks that this is going somewhere. And despite the hesitations between her friend and her boss that are just like, you haven't even met this dude, what are you talking about? This could be the one that you're looking for. She decides that she's going to just give it a whirl. Yeah, I don't understand this because she's a blogger, right? I'm assuming that and she's on Flirt Alert, so she's well aware of dating apps and apps in general. I'm surprised that she doesn't understand that catfishing is like a common thing that happens on like social media apps and the internet in general. Like if if catfish has served us anything, it's that it's really easy to trick gullible people that are just looking for love and don't want to actually meet up with the person face to face. Anyway, I digress. So she thinks that this is the right guy, and she decides that, you know what? Let me go visit him for Christmas. I would also like to point out that it's only been 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks, and she's going to fly 3,000 miles because she's in California, he's in New York. and is going to visit this person that she's never met for Christmas.
So you haven't even met this dude yet?
Well, not in person.
She's insane. Her friend ended up making it sound like that this is probably the most sane thing that she's ever done. I disagree. This is absolutely stupid. So she ends up going to New York. And lo and behold, I mean, she should have already known that some things were up because she loses her luggage, and her Uber Lyft driver is the same guy that maybe had lost her luggage. And honestly, she's just having a bad time already. Here we get kind of like a thing where she just doesn't like, baby, it's cold outside.
What are you talking about? It's a cute and flirty Christmas duet. Maybe if you're Bill Cosby.
I didn't necessarily realize how that song sounded, but also I don't know how it made it into this movie, and kind of like a common thing with her that she's quirky. So Baby It's Cold Outside is on her dislike list. Is that a quirk thing? Probably not. Anyway, she makes it over to the guy's house. By the way, I should have mentioned that his name is Josh Lynn. And she introduces herself to the family there, and that's when she meets Josh. Not this Josh, the real Josh. And she's quite surprised. I don't know why she's surprised. Maybe she should be more along the lines like, this is shocking, but I'm not surprised. I did do something pretty risky. Risky results should be inclined to happen. But yeah, Josh isn't who he says he is. He's not this really hot looking guy. He's kind of a nerd, a bit shorter than what she thought, and quite frankly, just totally different as far as like the face wise. Personality, I think he's still there. Still seems very charismatic, very smooth, just like how he talked to her throughout those 2 weeks. But anyway, so she goes and leaves the house, which is kind of awkward because she's already introduced herself sort of kind of as his girlfriend. And so now there's just this awkward moment between them outside. And I'm surprised the family members didn't really kind of follow, because that is not the face of like, oh my God, I'm happy to see you. It's more like, holy crap, I think this is the worst mistake of my entire life. Anyway, I don't know. But they go, or she goes, and he tries to, maybe more or less talk her off a ledge, and to her fair point that, he lied and she doesn't want to see him again. And yeah, anger is valid, and I'm surprised she didn't book her next flight to go home. But instead, she drinks her feelings at a bar that she escapes to, actually meets the real guy that the real Josh used his profile of. His name is Tag, actually. And courtesy to rom-com and just illogicalness, I think she projects what she was talking to with Josh onto the actual Tag and assumes that's what she's gonna get. So she wants to be with Tag. Fast forward through some shenanigans. She eats a kiwi and goes into anaphylactic shock, and they go to the veterinarian hospital, and they strike up a deal there where she agrees to pretend to be Josh's girlfriend until Christmas, while he helps her get with Tag, because apparently they used to be best friends when they were younger. And And he's been pretending to be him for 2 weeks, so he kind of knows what he's doing. Yeah, so that's where kind of we get this montage of just funny things happening. Josh tries to tell Natalie that Tag likes adventurous girls, girls that like meat and potatoes, and also likes Walden. I haven't read that book, and I don't exactly know Thoreau in his entirety of work, but apparently he's a hypocrite according to Natalie. So, okay. And basically, this guy is the absolute opposite to Natalie. She is vegan. She doesn't. She likes outdoors, but not too rugged. It seems like Tag likes really rugged, adventurous things like rock climbing and bobsledding, and I don't see her liking those things. And she also doesn't like pretty much anything um, that he likes. He doesn't even like Christmas. She can at least tolerate it, despite her misgivings on certain songs and or movies. She doesn't like Love Actually, which ironically that's like one of the movies that I also am more inclined to tolerate, because it doesn't always have a happy ending for some of those people. But oh, maybe this movie kind of made, I don't know. I digress. So, yeah, so Josh tries to help her, change her, I guess, mannerisms or outer look of herself to sort of impress Tag. And at the same time, she is helping Josh kind of build up a backbone and kind of bring more confidence to him. Apparently, he's had it rough, with a showboating brother. And his best friend Tag, as you can see, who got popular and he didn't, poor thing, was kind of left to the wayside while everyone else was, I guess, won the genetic attractiveness of the face and or charisma. I don't know. So she helps him out with that, and as all rom-coms go, things kind of get worse, especially when Josh, in an attempt to try and not be overshadowed by his brother anymore, ends up proposing to her, to Natalie, even though they agreed that they would totally fake real breakup at the end of Christmas. But we need plot points to keep this moving forward. So he proposes. Grandma gives her the ring, which makes this even worse. I kind of hated this scene a bit, because it only proves my point that I know some girls like the whole extravagant, propose to me in front of a lot of people, and kind of like that public shown of affection. I feel like this creates a lot of pressure, especially for the female, because if she says no, then she's the asshole, right? This guy has embarrassed himself, got down on one knee, and used however many thousands of dollars on a ring to propose, and you say no. And now she looks like the jerk. Although, to be quite frank, guys, you should know your girlfriend, and probably should have conversations with her in the first place, because you should know if she would say no or not. Anyway, that happens. And to Natalie's point, she's angry again because, Josh can't seem to help himself. He seems to dig himself deeper and deeper into a hole. that has been manufactured by society. Uh, it goes it goes on from there, and they manage to get things through. Tag ends up really liking Natalie, the fake her anyway, and invites her to dinner. And this is where Josh kind of starts realizing that helping Natalie is doesn't really make much sense. She's essentially doing the same thing that he's doing, except instead of faking a face, she's like faking her entire personality, even going so forth as in to compromise her morals. And she was willing to eat a little piece of meat just to get Tag to like her.
Identity. But it was still me. Every conversation we had, every text we exchanged, every laugh we shared, it was me. You liked me. And you liked me so much, you flew across the country to surprise me for Christmas.
And of course, being calling the pot calling the kettle black, she gets mad and storms away, says some kind of mean things to Josh, and that's it. She goes on a date with Tag. She realizes that maybe this isn't exactly what she wanted. And in an attempt to apologize to Josh the next day, things get even worse because the family, and their overzealousness of Josh actually getting a girlfriend and actually getting a fiance in the same like week period of like Christmas, they throw an engagement party and invite everyone. Her boss, Tag, I mean, Josh's brother's there, and he already doesn't really trust Natalie and doesn't like the fact that because of that, he's getting pushed to the wayside. Regardless, whatever. Uh, uh, Even her Uber Lyft driver guy is there. Everyone's there. Lake Placid is apparently very, very tiny, so everyone knows everything. And yeah, so it's at that engagement party that they let the truth out, and it sucks. You know, it's kind of embarrassing.
Okay, so you got mad at Josh for catfishing you, and then you go and do the exact same thing to me.
Out of all the people that didn't deserve to be hurt, it was him. He never asked to have his face be used to catfish someone, nor did he ask for that other person that he was that the catfisher was catfishing to go and catfish him, because she felt that he was the same person. But this is really confusing. The point is, poor Tag got dragged into all of this, and his heart's broken now. So screw Josh and Natalie. But everyone knows that that's not how rom-coms work. There are no ramifications for the actions that you do. So, sad montage music. Josh finally gets the courage to tell his dad that he wants to make candles instead of, being a sports goods salesman. I think that was like one of the plot points in this whole movie, that Josh's dad is like very manly, and Josh likes to make candles, and I don't think that's not manly, but apparently that's not really a thing that society deems manly. But he was afraid to tell his dad that he wants to make candles and that it would be good for business. And unbeknownst to him, that the most manly thing that you could do is stick up for yourself and do the things that you wanted to do. I feel like this is kind of opposite towards East Asian culture. I did watch Crazy Rich Asian, and I feel like there's a lot more that goes into it. But then again, this is Americanized, so what do I know? Anyway, so that happens. Josh finally, gets the approval from his dad. And Natalie finally realizes that maybe it wasn't Tag that she wanted. It really was Josh.
Because you usually run at the first sign of imperfection. Josh is imperfect, but yet you decided to stay?
It doesn't really matter.
Honey, it's the only thing that matters.
Which, of course, duh, for 2 weeks you've been talking nonstop to this dude. And he knows everything about you, uh, apparently. So, I mean, I would think that'd be the person that you wanted to be with, but people don't like being told what to do. They have to figure out for themselves. I'm the same way, to be quite honest. So, can't even fault her for that. But she realizes that she goes back to Josh and they do this very, very cringy homage to Love Actually.
It's the Mormons!
And I just realized that the titles of Love Actually and Love Hard are the same, just reversed in font. And I'm guessing the director really liked Love Actually. And they end up getting together. So, yay. Natalie finds her happy ending. Josh gets the girl and the approval of his family and is no longer being overshadowed, or in a sense. And the end. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Okay, now that we have gone through the whole movie, I just want to point out what I find actually sort of horrifying, even in this very cutesy, very tolerable rom com. First of all, it's the attention to the fact that online dating is a thing, and also, I think, what is wrong with society. I mean that in the most non offensive way that I could possibly think of, but hear me out. It is so easy to fake a profile and fake your entire identity on these apps. Even in social media, they kind of call this out. Uh, it's way too easy. You're really not quite sure who you are talking to or who is real anymore. And it kind of sucks because the people who are being their actual selves online don't get nearly as much traction as those that kind of spruce up their profile a little bit. Their picture, their actual likes or whatever. And despite them actually making light of Natalie's terrible dating experiences on these dating apps, the actual reality is that they can be quite terrifying. Like, there are literal people out there that are sort of predatory in nature when it comes to these apps, and they can get kind of scary, like, or even just quite disheartening if you're actually trying to find someone, in general. Like, I know some people have dealt with what I like to call hobo sapiens. And what I mean by that is that they literally go on dates with these people, and it seems to be going quite well until the second party that they're with accidentally forgets their wallet on like some dinner date or coffee date, which, I mean, some people actually use these apps just to get free meal. That's not unheard of. So, I mean, calling out these things in real life actually uh, makes me think that dating on apps and just online dating, just the general atmosphere of dating is nerve wracking, scary, even. I mean, they even had like one bit on here where they look at Josh's profile and he kind of looks a bit like a serial killer. Like, what if that was the real Josh? Like, what if that was. What if that was like his actual like personality, or what if he actually was a serial killer? That'd be a totally different movie there. So there's that. And then there's kind of like just the pacing of how these relationships develop. Like Natalie and Josh started talking 2 weeks before the Christmas holiday. And she was ready to travel 3,000 miles to New York to meet this dude that she never met. How could anyone actually do that? Well, surprisingly, I mean, people do this sort of crazy thing all the time. And, if it doesn't turn out to be nefarious, it could actually be quite a funny story. But at the same time, it could also end up very, very, very bad. You really don't know who you're talking to on these lines. And making sure that someone's holding like today's paper, or they wrote your name on a card and sent it to you, really doesn't mean anything, because Photoshop is easy and it's not hard to trick somebody on these apps. And 2 weeks is not long enough for me to come visit anybody that I just met on a dating app for Christmas. I don't care how cute you are, but we needed the story to go somewhere. But in real life, this is quite a risky move. And honestly, I don't. Why did she go by herself? Like, even if you were gonna do this, bring a friend or something. You don't know this person. What are you doing? Like, anything could have gone wrong, and you would have had nobody. You didn't even have your luggage when you came out there anyway. So literally anything could have happened. So I just find this kind of willful ignorance sort of terrifying for me, because I feel like there are actually people out here that do these kind of things all in the name of love, not realizing that they are putting themselves at risk, um, at, for harm, even if I'm just talking about like maybe just getting your heart broken. Like, there are other ways that this could have went south. There's also this kind of just narrative that you gotta pretend to be someone else in order to attract someone. Now, I will say in most dating experiences, you do kind of gotta up the notch a little bit on your personality. I say a little bit though. Like, you shouldn't be turning yourself into a different person and compromising your morals just to impress someone. Like, Natalie was really willing to go eat meat for Tag. And I'm not quite sure if Tag would have done the same thing for her. So why would she? I feel like if you have two people, they say opposites attract. I'm not completely convinced of that, but I mean, if you got two people who like different things and they are mature enough to actually overlook their differences, then I can see things happening. But you got to start off like that. You can't start off a relationship with a lie, or a falsehood. You're going to end up resenting that person later in life, or even worse, um, you find out that that person wasn't even himself anyway. So exactly who were you trying to impress? Who knows? So, I mean, there's that. Uh, I'd also like to point out that this movie, like all rom coms, doesn't acknowledge the fact that both Josh and Natalie were completely in the wrong here. And poor Tag ended up being the butt of the joke out of all of this. Despite his dislike of Christmas and his overzealousness for adventurous things, like I'm pretty sure that was supposed to meant to be like kind of funny or poke fun at the stereotypical hot guy, poke fun at the quintessential hot guy. But he's still a person, and he got his heart broken. And Josh and Natalie are still together. They're together. So, I mean, where does the story go for Tag? I need to see his story. Like, how does he bounce back from this? Do him and Josh ever make up as friends? Because Josh literally helped Natalie try to trick him. So, I mean, what happens there? You don't get the ramifications that I was expecting. But then again, if they did, it's not a rom com. So what should have happened is that when Natalie found out Josh was catfishing her, she should have slapped the mess out of him and left. Well, maybe not physical harm, because again, we weren't sure if this guy was gonna be an axe murderer. But anyway, she should have realized that this was a mess and then would have gone home, leaving Josh to wallow in his own self pity. But it went further than that. So after that, what should have happened is that Josh should have been sort of, guided in a way that, you can't just lie to people online and then lie to your family about it and expect things to just have like a happy ending there. But we didn't get that. It seems like the family was very understanding that this of the son being kind of Josh being kind of a lame, and they felt sorry for him. Like they all just came walking in like, oh, it's okay, man, it's all right, buddy. I know it's hard out there. And it's just like, no. He lied to a girl and then lied to y'all, and y'all seem to be completely okay with this. You seem to be. Grandma was willing to use her ring off of her finger for the engagement, this fake engagement that they had. But we all are understanding. Shit. He must be really lame if the family doesn't even get mad at him for something like that. They're just like, it's okay. Natalie should just get off of Flirt Alert and any other dating app and just go on with her life. But then again, she might get fired for not writing something interesting at her job. So I don't know. I mean, if she's willing to put her heart through that kind of trauma over and over again with these dating apps, then I go for it, I suppose. The fact that there were no ramifications for what Josh and Natalie did whatsoever, they both get their happy ending, is not true. And it sends the narrative that as long as you lie with a purpose, then it's okay and things will work out. Something that I didn't even really think about is that Natalie was able to find Josh's address fairly quickly. I guess in 2 weeks he could have casually mentioned his address, but I doubt this highly. So now this is more beginning on the terms of like stalking. I think I'm done with this whole rant, or not even a rant, just digesting the film in itself. Despite me not agreeing with everything that went on with this movie, it was funny. In retrospect, I think people would like it if you wanted to watch it. Anyway, that's all I got for today. this is my last video for the year of 2021. I'm actually super proud of myself because I was determined to have 2 videos for the next 3 months. And depending on when I'm started, this is my 2nd month and I've already started posting. This is my 4th video. So January I'm gonna post 2, and we're gonna keep this thing going because consistency equals growth. And I'm very happy where I'm at as far as the end of 2021, and I can see that there are only going to be more great things to come in the year 22. So have a happy new year, everyone. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday, and let's see what I got for y'all in 22.